Hey everybody, just want to let you know today out here I'm kind of spotlighting on my Losi LST. Bought this one brand new when they first came out back in, I believe, 2004 2005, around there. So if you see the title of the video, what I said in the title is because if you look at this body, it might be kind of hard to tell, I'm not sure, but this body was all scrapped and broken up. This body should have been thrown away 21 years ago or more. But I kept it around all these years, and I keep looking on eBay and stuff and haven't been able to find one that's in real good condition. And to be honest with you, if I find one that's a mint body, brand new looking, I'm probably going to actually just keep that on the shelf as a shelf body. Because this body, this truck, he's really earned his keep. There's a reason why I say he's my best RC, and that's because he's always came through no matter what. So let me get this body off just so you guys can see. I was working on this a little bit Saturday and Sunday. So this body was really destroyed. See all the zip ties there all around the bed area. The roof was crushed in pretty bad, all in there was crushed down. The whole front was broken. The whole front end was flopping like a clamshell. So I went ahead and I used some zip ties and I stitched them all together. So now he kind of looks like a Frankenstein monster or something. See some more over there, some stitching. All on the back roof area, back window area. Here's the bed area. Now this bed back piece was broken completely off and it was crumpled up into a ball. So I used my micro torch and I carefully warmed it up and pulling on it and stretching it, and I got it really good back in shape, considering the Lexan. It was literally crumpled like a ball. Like if you take aluminum foil and crumple it into a ball. And then I was missing this quarter panel, was gone. So I cut a fresh piece of Lexan that I had left over from my my hearse body kit. I bought a hearse body for my Savage my Savage 25, and I got to paint that and put that on. But I used a piece that was cut off of that extra, and then I took some extra black and yellow sticker material and I cut it out because it only said team, because the whole quarter panel was missing. Turned out pretty good. I mean, from a couple feet away I could barely even tell. Not bad. So this body has been through hell and back, and at this point it's ready for another 20 some years of bashing. I think it'll be all right, because I don't treat my RCs like I used to. That's why the name of the video is what it is, because we used to come out here every single day for like 5 years until everyone else started dropping off. But I still kept coming out, but everyone dropped off and then it was just me. But we used to come out here and bash. I'm going to go around and show you some other spots where we used to bash. Anybody who's not interested in a little bit of story time, if you want to watch some nitro action, then go ahead and fast forward through the video here, because I will be running him later in the video. So what you would get, you get a box. Pretty exciting. You know how it is, you save up your money because you see in the magazine, hey, a new release is coming out. Now, I wasn't that familiar with Losi back then, but like I said, after what he's been through, he is my best RC. Some might say that other ones are better. I'm sure they're all good, but this one's taking a beating like a Timex watch. He keeps on ticking. So saved my money up, waited for it to come in. The very day that the hobby shop said it came in, I ran up there. It was a Saturday morning, probably around 10 or a quarter after 10, because they open at 10. I've been going to the same place over 30 years. They're just 2 miles from me. So you see I ordered the red body. I do like the blue body. It looks sharp on the box. But back then, and even a little now, I was a sucker for red. So I had ordered the red one. So this box has been up in the attic pretty much since about a week after I purchased the truck. So I want to open it up because I noticed when I picked it up, it seems to have some things in it. I'm not sure what's in it, but let's take a look and see what's in it. But you can see on the box, Losi LST Super Truck. Monster truck, body red included. Here you get a nice overview. Now don't forget, this one has 2 steering servos. So, and it's got reverse also. So then you add the throttle servo. So this actually has 4 servos, and they were all JR servos. JR transmitter. And it comes with roto start, which I still have the original roto start. Works great to this day. Here's a box art of him doing a wheelie. Come over here, they're spotlighting. You got giant mega shocks, and those shocks, they are huge. I never had a problem except I bent one long time ago, just one though. Got mega shocks. You got a 2-speed transmission. Talk about that in a minute. You got the Mach 26 engine, very powerful. And there's your dual steering servos. I didn't realize they show that on the box. I didn't really look at the box before I came out here to film. I just grabbed it out of the attic real quick. I had to look for it for a little bit because I wasn't even sure where it was up there. Attic's big. So the Mach 26, very powerful, good motor. Up until recently, of me getting a couple of my newer RCs that are nitros in the past, well, this year actually, probably this year and last year, that was my biggest motor. Very powerful, got a tuned pipe. It's a nice setup. Now, there's so much power with that motor that the plastic transmission gears right there, your spur gears, 2-speed baby gears, they weren't lasting long. I was going through them every day or two. I was just stripping them left and right, didn't matter. Sometimes it was caused by a pebble. It has a cover on the transmission to keep dirt and stuff out. But the first design on that didn't keep the pebbles out good. You had the outer face plate there with the bulge in it, the cover. But the inner cover was literally just a piece of straight Lexan. It did not curve. This right here did not curve and come over the outer cover. So pebbles and stuff could still get in here. Now this is pretty much encapsulated, so you don't have to worry about pebbles. But the power of this awesome engine will strip them gears either way. So some of you might know about the titanium nitrate gears. They refer to them as teeny gears, even in the original owner's manual under option parts. It's teeny bad. They call them teeny gears. They're gold metal, and those are what's in there. And that was the only set of those I ever had to put in, and never had a problem. So that all worked out pretty good. Let's go ahead and get the box open real quick just to see if there's anything interesting in there. I'm not sure if there is. Okay, got a box here, JR. This must have been the receiver. I mean, the transmitter must have been in here. XS3FM. It's a very good transmitter. I do like the old transmitters because you can adjust the idle speed with them. But a lot of the old transmitters were not good for setting endpoints. And then you end up burning up a servo, especially steering servos. Throttle you could too, throttle brake, if it's traveling too far. So I've got this switched over now in recent years. I'm running the Traxxas TQI transmitter remote here, and that way I can go into the Traxxas link and I can set endpoints and stuff. But this original JR transmitter was very good, always served me well, never had a problem with it. No, you see it's in really good shape still. I'm surprised it's in that good a shape, to be honest with you, because the truck itself, boy, we used to trash on them. So that's that. Okay, you got some packing boxes. Other things must have come in here. Oh, look at that. They must have had some kind of a stand for the truck to sit on. Boy, it's been so long I don't remember that. Look at that. They must have had it's a pretty heavy duty plastic. Boy, you could use that for something maybe still. Yeah, that's nice. I forgot about that. I got an ace bag here, so I must have needed some screws or something at the time. Is there a receipt in there? No, I don't see a receipt. I was hoping to see a receipt in there. That's okay. And then, oh, I got this. This is my first thermometer meter. What was that, 25 bucks back then in the day? Wow. Yeah. I never used one of these until I bought this guy right here brand new, and I didn't want to take any chances of overheating them. But when I tell you a little story about his first run, this didn't really matter a whole lot that first run. And used to strip these, look at that, they're still in there. Used to strip these plastic diff cases like crazy because of the engine power. And once you get this a little deformed on the inside, then your ring and pinion, they just chews up their gears. So it was nice because back then, right in the beginning, even Losi was offering upgraded parts. So you can see right there the blue aluminum diff housing. So I replaced those back in the day with a brand new set of gears. And this is after I probably had changed these 5-6 times and had to buy new gears 5-6 times. I finally said, hey, you got to upgrade to the aluminum so everything stays together, front and back, and never had a problem with any of them since. So that's a real good upgrade. You can still find them on eBay. I recommend them, especially if you're going to be trying to do wheelies and things like that. Oh, I got some kind of a receipt here. What is this for? I'll have to look at that in a minute. We'll see what that's for. Oh, here's another receipt. Let me get my glasses real quick. Take a look at the receipt. We might be lucky. I might have the original receipt from when I bought it in there, because that thin receipt looks like the original one from the hobby shop. Let's see what that is. Oh, it's faded some. Oh, this must have been for parts. Larry's Performance, RC. It doesn't give it a good description. It just says nitro parts, 25, 26 bucks each. Another line that says parts, $5, and then batteries, $28, and batteries, $28. Tax, got a grand total of $122. $122 on those items. That is not the original receipt for the truck, though. I was hoping that was in there. I think I have that with the owner's manual and stuff, which I didn't bring. I have all the owner's manual and the original paperwork in the Ziploc bag. I'm pretty sure I have the original receipt in there. Now, this is Power Racing. I don't know. I don't remember what these parts were. $4. There's no part number or description on here. It's just like a generic tab. $5 for that. Well, there's a part number. I guess I could always look that up later and see what that part number was for. Does this one have a part number? No part number on this one. Don't remember what that was for. Oh, and a week after, well, not a week after, right when I bought the truck, they offered a larger capacity fuel tank, bigger, more cc volume in there. So I had ordered that, and I was waiting a week for that to come in. Here, let's take this out so you can see it. Here's the original tank, which only had basically 1 week of runtime on it. There's nothing wrong with this tank. It's in great shape. I just opted to put the larger fuel tank in. So, but look at that. See, we used to play with them in the dirt, real hard, the mud. I don't run my stuff like that anymore, especially in the mud. I do not go out in the mud with them. Nope, that's not happening. I respect them a lot more than I used to. Back in the day, man, we would just bash day after day after day, sending them. It didn't matter. It was craziness, and it was all for fun and uncontrollable laughing and entertainment. And we broke stuff every single time, maybe even multiple things on a day. And then you just go home and you fix it and you're out the next day. Control arms are very, very popular to break. Other items were breaking all the time too. This was $14 for the high capacity fuel tank. That's what's in it now. That's the bigger tank there. Bigger volume. That's been in there the whole time since a week old. So that's pretty good there. I got another receipt here, which I'm not sure what this is from. Oh, this is Larry's Perform. Oh, that's... Where's that other receipt? Oh, this is like a duplicate receipt. Oh, because I paid with credit card, so it swiped. Okay. That's a duplicate receipt for the credit card. And then this is just the actual paper receipt that came out of the register. So those are both for the same purchase, which I don't remember what they were. They probably were NiCad batteries to run the thing. So what's the date on these? July 30th of 05. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, flopping around here. July 30th of 2005 though. That's when this receipt's from. Long time ago. Yeah, this is at Duratrax. Oh, I still have him, by the way. I use him, but I got a newer one that I use. But here's my. I keep this in my nitro bag over here of goodies. Here's my original. That's the first one I had. It probably needs a battery. I don't even know. Oh no, it still works. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it still works. But I got a newer one. I picked up one a couple years ago at Harbor Freight. It was very cheap, trigger style. A little easier to use than that one. It's more of a point and shoot with a laser beam coming out of it so you can see where you're pointing. That one there, you got to really be kind of up close when you're measuring your temps. So yeah, definitely would break front and back bumpers quite a bit, even though these are extra heavy duty. Would always be breaking control arms, top, bottom. I had to replace that header pipe a long time ago. There's another area at the park where I used to bash over there, and they used to store some very large boulders, about boulder size, maybe a little smaller than a bowling ball size. And boy, he went flying through the air one day, and somehow he was over too far, and he landed with his side pointing down and right onto one of them big rocks, and it crushed that header tube in. So now here's some of the batteries and stuff that you might use. These batteries, these bigger ones here, I would use them for the roto start. And then here is the old-fashioned style of a vintage glow plug igniter. I bought that one new when I got this truck. I remember that's the first one I had that was that style. All the other ones I had up to that point, they were shorter. This one's extended reach on the plug end, shaft end. So back in the day, this is my first charger I used to use. This is very ancient. No high-tech here. This is pretty much all they had. You got your knob. You can adjust up to 6.5 amps. And you got a LED for charging, an LED for when it's done charging. You got a start button. And that's about all you got. You got a Dean's connector. It's a very, very old charger. First one I ever had. Bought that new. Early 2000s, maybe late 90s, I think in early 2000s. And then, some years later, probably mid 2000s, late 2000s, they came out with this one here, the Super Brain, which is quite an upgrade. I didn't really need it at the time. This one here works great. It still works now. But this one here was more of an automatic charger. You know, you just set it and you forget it. Not a whole lot to do with it. This original charger was 104. This is Team Associated, Reedy. Reedy is Team Associated. So that sucker was 104. Quite expensive back then. Oh, I think it's got a date on it. 5/4/2002 on the orange sticker. Now this MRC Super Brain, I know they've come out with some other ones after this that were similar. Probably better though, I didn't have them. Up until maybe 12 years ago, this is what I used. Now I've got a much more modern charger that I use, so I don't use this MRC one anymore. And look at that, you know, considering this is a much better charger, look at that price. 61 bucks compared to 104. So go figure that out. I don't know how that works. You would think that this would be double the price of that one, because this one here is just a basic. This is about as basic as you can get with a charger. Wow. So look at that. You get something much more better quality, much more automatic charging for you. You don't have to worry about it. It had all kind of short protection, overheat protection. You know, you didn't have to worry about it. These other ones, man, you kind of had to watch. Something could go wrong real quick. You'd have wires burning. You never know. Battery could be catching on fire. You got to be careful. Now, these batteries, they're not dangerous as much as a newer LiPo battery is. But these batteries still, they could burn your house down. You don't want to have a problem with the wires burning and stuff. So yeah, it was a big relief to have this one. I could set it, I could work on my truck or go do some other things and then come back when it's done. This one here, you didn't really want to leave the room when it's charging. You kind of want to be right there in case something went wrong. So that's just a little story on some of the old Chargers. This is actually one of my first jugs, if not the first jug that I ever bought to run on him. This is the old Byron gas. Can't get this anymore. This was good stuff. But I run the Torco from time to time when I have it. Up until this very year, I run the Torco too. And then the Torco wasn't in stock all spring, and I was out, man, so I had to order some. So I ended up ordering 6 gallons altogether of VP Basher 20%. And that's what I've been running now all summer is the VP. And I'll be honest with you, they all seem to run the same. People racing might notice a difference, but for what we were doing, racing around here, just having fun, bashing, who knows what, they all seem to be about the same. Now tires, when we used to bash, these five spoke, they look pretty cool, but you'd always break them. You'd always break the center out of these wheels, because we used to jump these high. I'm talking high like a X-Max. It was crazy what we used to do with them. And a lot of times you'd strip out that hex on the inside. Now on the factory truck, when you bought it, it would have plastic hexes. Well, I upgraded right away to aluminum ones, which helps the hex itself, but that you still end up stripping out these wheel hexes on the inside of the wheel. And you can see that's pretty worn, almost looks like it overheated, a little melted on around the ridge there. The hex itself seems to be still usable, but yeah, these rims, you constantly break these rims. Not the best design for all-out bashing. Now, I've got several sets of these used ones, and I also have several sets of new ones I had bought back then in the day, because we were going through them so much. I always like to have double sets of everything in stock, you know. Control arms, I would have 6, 7 packs of control arms, pairs, top and bottom. But yeah, I've got brand new wheels and tires. They've never been bolted on. I'll probably never use them, but maybe I will, because like I said, I don't go in the dirt and I don't bash around rocks and stuff anymore, so maybe I'll put them on, because I do like the looks of them. The original wheels on the Losi always look good. They look nice. I just ended up going with these other style, because after I bought a set of these, they didn't break really. And then they had these optional trim rings that went on. Losi sold them. You could get red, gold, or blue. I went with the blue. Now, I still see them on eBay. It'd be neat to get another set that are gold and red. Maybe switch them up once in a while. That'd be pretty cool. But these are real good wheels as far as better quality, because these original ones here, they just crack the centers out when you're bashing a lot. I never broke one of these wheels ever. So now you got the original batteries here. These batteries I would run from brand new. This battery here I had bought later when these went bad. The original battery on this goes up underneath the fuel tank there. And I don't recommend you run it that way with the factory holder, because you get all that heat on that aluminum from the engine. It really gets hot, and you end up toasting the battery, and it goes bad prematurely just in a few months from the heat of the motor. So what I do now is I took the holder off the bottom, and I mounted the original battery holder. I mounted it on top of my receiver box there. So I got a battery already in there ready to go for our run later. But that's where I run the battery now. That way it's away from the heat. Never had a problem since I did that. It's screwed into that plastic real good. Not going to fall out no matter how much jumping you do. It's on there good. Now another tip, if you don't want to use that kind of a pack battery, that flat long pack, and you don't want to mount it up on the receiver box like that. Another trick I used to do is, you can see this glob of silicone on there. I would literally put that back here on the back shock tower, and then I would strap some zip ties through the cross bracing of that shock tower there. You see that bracing? And that would hold that battery in there sweet, and it would never get hot from the engine that way either. So that's another option. If you got a hump pack battery, zip tie it right on the back here, and that way it's away from that heat from that engine. So there's a lot of tips I could give you with these guys, but it is a big list if you really went through it. So we talked about the header getting smashed. That was unfortunate. Something else, I had a runaway a couple of years after I had it, and it ran away. I couldn't catch it, and it went right into a pond. Well, you know what that does. That ruined those 2 servos. It ruined the receiver box, and it killed the 2 servos on the steering under there. So pretty much all the electronics was fried. That was that. So I had to go out and order brand new ones from Larry's. Now at the time, that was a brand new replacement, that JR, which is the same as these JRs. These are the original ones. 2 of them anyway. There's 4 total. But these are 2 of the original servos. I still have the other 2 also. These are the ones that bit it when I went in the pond. These got water in them, and they do not work. So, now recently, I had replaced my throttle servo when I rebuilt this truck. And I was getting also a lot of play on the servo saver. I was only getting half throttle travel. Even though the servo was moving full, the throttle servo saver was weak. The spring and the plastic was weak. So I was only getting throttle half open. And you know, that's not good if you want to be shifting 2-speed, baby. So this is the last thing I replaced on the truck. I found the parts on eBay. These parts are pretty common. You can find a lot of LST parts on eBay still. So I put that on, set my M points, and I got to tell you, boy, it's full throttle now. We're ready for 2-speed, baby. So last winter, I went over this whole truck, and I tore it apart. I cleaned it. It was so filthy and nasty and dirty. It had taken so much bashing over the years, and no matter how much I fixed it, it just ate it up and it wanted more. The motor itself, never been apart, except I took the head off when I rebuilt it. I took the head off just to look at the piston in the skirt in there, and the head button. And the engine is in excellent shape. Very good condition. Lots of compression. I have run gallons and gallons and gallons through this thing. Never an issue out of the engine, ever. So when I rebuilt it this winter, I bought a carburetor O-ring kit. I tore the carburetor apart, cleaned it, put all new O-rings in there. That's all rebuilt. I bought a brand new transmission case. I bought every single gear, bearing, shim. I bought everything for the transmission internally. Every single item. So that transmission is brand new. Now I had noticed that there was some wear and some metal shavings in my original transmission. I still kept that one. All the parts, most of the parts in it are still good. But I did notice some metal flaking. And from what I can determine, that was from using the reverse gear. When you go into reverse, even if you're stopped, it seems to bind up or lock in a little bit too hard on the gear teeth. So I've used reverse a few times now since I rebuilt them, but I'm probably not going to use the reverse a whole lot because I don't think it's good for the machine. Even if you're at a stop, I don't think it's good to use the reverse. So at least I know in my mind it's very well greased up in there, and every gear, everything inside is brand new. The whole transmission assembly, including the case, because the case itself actually had some wear inside. So brand new case too. I had to put a brand new header pipe. This is the original exhaust pipe. Now I could get a new one to put on, but the body itself rubs on the exhaust pipe some. You can see how the paint's off of there. And I wanted to leave at least something on there that was a testament as to what this truck's been through. So we left the original pipe on there. Like I said, I had bent a shock rod or two back in the day, but never had to replace a spring, never had to replace a shock cap. I can tell you we were blowing off the bottom of the shock mount cap, the bottom down there. We were blowing those off all the time too, because we were just jumping them too high. We were kids, not really kids. I mean, I was probably like 26 back then or whatever, maybe a little younger, 24. But we were just having fun. Like I said, we were having a laugh fest, and these were just, they were so fun and entertaining. We just enjoyed the hell out of them. And parts, you know, you go up to the hobby shop, almost everything was on the shelf for this thing part-wise. And if it wasn't, they could have it in 3 days or a week. So when you order stuff, you know, you order 2, you order 3, you order 4. That way you got spares and you're never down on your runtime. Now, something else is when we used to come out here, at least when I used to come out here, I always brought at least 2 trucks. I always brought this truck because this was my main bashing truck. Now, sometimes I would bring my old Mammoth ST I used to have. I have a new one now that's unrun, never been started, but the original Mammoth ST I used to have. I'd take that, or I would bring my Savage 25, you know, even the Emax, electric Emax, first one that came out, I'd bring that. Because I knew that this was going to break, whether it was in 5 minutes or an hour and a half. I was going to break something on it, and I didn't want to be done running for the day. So some guys would bring 2. I always brought 2. Yep, got to bring 2. But this truck is very reliable. I never had any kind of a catastrophic failure with anything overall. It's a very good truck. These plates down here, these plastic chassis plates, they were quite gouged up from the rough conditions we used to run in, so I replaced them. Everything new on the steering, everything that's in here, all the links, everything. All new CV shafts this winter going out to the wheels. All new main CV shafts, front to back, coming off the transmission center there. All new, everything new. All new gears on the front and rear. Even though these gears never had a problem, I saved the old ones I took out, but these are brand new gears, front and rear diff. All greased up good, shimmed good, but everything brand new. Took the shocks apart, cleaned them real good on the inside, put new fluid. New body posts, of course. The old body posts were completely carnage. Nothing left of them. My God, they were broken and whittled down to nothing. We used to duct tape them around the front of the body to the bumper here and in the back to keep the body on, because we were just breaking body posts so much all the time. Yeah, I mean, everything pretty much like new. Boy, there really isn't much that isn't new. I mean, all new bearing kit too for the wheels, everything new. I ended up putting an aluminum clutch in here. This motor is very powerful, and a lot of times you would end up melting the plastic clutch shoes. So it's got aluminum clutch in there that'll last a lot longer. See, a lot of times too, I used to run those IMEX giant jumbo tires, those Swamp Kongs. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you've seen my videos before with them, but the Swamp Kong tires are like almost double the size of these, and you know, that just puts more strain. So when you got more strain, you end up melting them plastic clutch shoes. But this transmission deals with the giant tires in a good way, because not only is it 2-speed baby with the gearing, 2-speed baby, this has a high and low range. So most of the time I've had this in high gear. But when I run them IMEX tires on here, they're really big. I put this in the low gear setting, and that way there's not much strain on the engine. It takes off as if it would regularly with these big tires. So when you're climbing up, we used to climb up giant hills. I'll show you where that's at. We used to climb up giant hills and fly off the top. I'm talking big hills. These hills are like 15, 20 foot high. Or we'd start out at the top and we would race down them with our jumbo tires. And man, I got to tell you, with the jumbo tires, if you're in high gear coming down off the hill instead of low gear on high gear, you're really getting some speed because those tires are so tall. So that's kind of neat. But for regular driving around with the big tires, I would not recommend being in high gear. Put it in low gear, less strain on the engine, less strain on the transmission, less strain on the clutch. So I don't know what else to say about this truck, except we used to beat the hell out of them. This one here I always beat on more than any of my other trucks by far. And no matter what he went through, I'm telling you, that motor is an awesome motor. Never had any issue with that motor, nothing. All perfect. But yeah, this winter I put new exhaust spring. Other one was stretched out, of course. All new gaskets here, grommet here also for the exhaust coupler. I mean, just anything you can think of. These towers here, they were always cracking. It's not really a tower, it's a chassis plate right here, spacer for this mounting. These would always crack, so I put those on new again. A lot of bent hinge pins, of course, stuff like that. Always breaking them, breaking these bits in the front, the holder for the hinge pins. But overall, he's real durable. One little other tip I can give you while I'm here real quick, I just remembered. The gas tank itself. The gas tank, the bottom of the gas tank rubs on the chassis plate when it's mounted stock. And from the vibration, you will start wearing the bottom of the gas tank. And you could wear a hole through it. Plus you have the engine heat touching it. I put some stainless steel washers underneath, right here, underneath the bottom here. Right here underneath. And that way I space this tank up about 1/8 of an inch. So it keeps it off the heat of how hot this engine plate gets, this chassis plate. And it stops it from moving around because it's in rubber isolators. Stops it from moving around and scuffing, because I'm telling you, this will definitely scuff through the bottom of your gas tank, and you don't want that to happen. So space your tank up if you got one of these. Just put a couple of washers underneath the gas tank mounting positions right there, and you lift that tank up just enough to get it up off the chassis, because the engine heat's not good for it either. Not good at all. And yep. So imagine waiting for your order to come in. Order comes in, right? You got your new box. You get your truck out of the box. You fill it up. Now back then, we didn't worry too much about breaking it in. Okay, I'll be honest with you. We had the RC magazines we looked through, and when we, break them in, hey, we just started them up and run them. We didn't pay too much attention to that kind of stuff. We didn't really realize that you could do engine damage. Luckily, I never had any engine damage the way I used to break them in, just running them hard right off the bat. Now I break them in, I let them run on a block, or I'll drive them around real slow. I don't necessarily get right into it right away. I get some tanks through it before I start getting on the gas. But with this one here, we went ahead and I put fuel in them. And then we come out here to this soccer field, right in this exact spot here. And this is where we used to run all the time. So I filled them up. I started them up, and I'm telling you what, I was doing full speed passes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh my God, 3 tankfuls. Back to back without even letting the machine cool. We didn't really realize back then. Well, on the 3rd tank, as I was almost finishing up the 3rd tank, I noticed he wasn't going so good. I pulled him up close right over here, and I noticed that he only had front wheel drive. Well, he had spit out one of the drive shafts going to the rear axle from the center. Now that drive shaft is still here somewhere. I looked and I looked and I looked for about an hour that day. I looked and I could not find it. It's still here. It's buried down in the grass now somewhere. Who knows where it is. But the good thing is my local hobby shop's just 2 miles away. They had one in stock. So I went right up there, came back, put it in. And then I got to be honest with you, filled them back up and ran a bunch more tanks through them that day until the sun was setting. I would say probably maybe 7 to 9 tanks that day ran through them. So I would not recommend that. That's not the best advice, but I can tell you that that's what I used to do back in the day on several of mine, and none of them have ever had an engine issue. But go by the owner manual, break them in how it says. Be easy on it. Make sure you're running it really rich for the first few 3, 4, 5, 6 gas tanks. So yeah, I don't recommend just opening the box and just full trigger for damn near 10 tanks of gas. I would not recommend that. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on why I think my LST is my best RC. Because I have sent him through hell and back, and he's always come back for more. No complaints. Now we're talking so long ago that, there really wasn't cell phones, especially with video. That was not a common thing. You might have had a flip phone, I don't even know back then. This is a long time ago when I was out here running him all the time. And I never, we never took any pictures. We never brought a camera with us. We weren't doing that kind of a thing, So I don't have any video or pictures of back in the day. All I can tell you is that I have a million memories in my head of day after day, summer, winter, summer, and then winter again through the years with this guy. And that's the reason why I'm pleased I was able to fix this body back up, because I'm telling you, it was flopping around. It was all like a wet noodle. It was junk. It was missing the whole quarter panel. But I got it all fixed up the last 2 days. I was tinkering with it, cutting some Lexan, drilling a bunch of holes for zip ties, and making up my own fake Losi sticker there for the side that was not there anymore because the whole piece of the truck was missing. And came out good. So yeah, he's ready for another 20 some years of battle, I think. I'm going to still be looking for a new body, a brand new body if I can find one. And if I do get one, that's just going to be on the shelf though. I don't think I'll ever run that body. I'm just going to continue running this body. Because, you know, between that and me rebuilding the entire truck over the winter, everything, it's almost like a reincarnation. So, it's just good to know that all the bearings, all the gears, even though I wasn't having an issue when I tore them apart, I knew there was a lot of wear time, a lot of hours, a lot of wear. And even though there was nothing obvious wrong with any of the trans gears, nothing went wrong obvious with the diff gears, and like I said, I saved all that stuff. But this guy has a full rebuild, like a $6 million man, maybe even more. Because I think on the $6 million man, they probably didn't replace as many things as I did on here, because I just ordered up almost everything. Shock towers, I mean, you name it. Anything I could find on eBay, and a lot of it's still available, I bought it all. And front to back, head to toe. And even rebuilt the original body, which I'm glad I didn't throw it away. I'm surprised I didn't throw it away back then, because I have had several bodies through the years to run on him. But I always kept the original body, and I'm glad I did, because you know what? He's going to be running with him again now. I had him out a couple times earlier this year, made a couple videos. The body was in sad shape. It was all crinkled up, especially in the back. The whole back corner, the whole back end was missing, plus the quarter panel was missing. If you guys go back and look at that video, or those couple of videos I made, you'll see the body was not looking as good as it does now. It's definitely a good improvement. I can't complain. Turned out really good considering. So, that's just a little story of my truck here. That's why I think it's the best out of my collection anyway. He's been the one who's been put through the most, and he's the one that's never had a hard time overall dealing with it. Not really. It's been a real good truck. I'm glad I bought it. I wasn't even familiar that much with Losi when I bought this. I just really liked the look of the truck. I liked how big it was. I liked how it had the big shocks. I knew it would be good for bashing, because not many trucks back then had shocks of that size. I mean, the shocks are huge. They're just big. So, I'm going to go ahead and put some fuel in them, and I'm going to run them around a bit. I'll continue the video when I do that. I'm just going to hit the pause for a little bit here while I get them ready to run. And thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for listening to his story. I appreciate it. And we'll be back here in a minute with some run video time. Okay? See you in a sec.